Welcome to Made in Walker, the podcast that connects you to the people, the stories, and the ideas shaping our community. From local innovators to everyday change makers, we're diving deep into what makes Walker a great place to live, work, and grow. Here's your host, Nicole DiDonato.
Thank you for joining us in the Made in Walker podcast. I'm Nicole DiDonato, the communications manager here for the city of Walker. And so much is going on in the city. We know that our commissioners, our elected officials, they have term limits, so they have a timeline of when they need to get things done. So what's important to bring in that next pipeline of people to carry on that mission? Well, I'm here with City of Walker Mayor Gary Carey Jr., and he has a solution for that with a program that you've kind of reinstated at the City of Walker, right?
Sure. No, thank you. Glad to be here again. And one of our newest introductions there, an attempt to start to plan for our future succession planning, and it's really critical. And I want to give our hats out to our city commission. It is something that we're very attuned to, and it's not just we're in there to serve for a term or two, and then we're walking out the door. I mean, we really do care about what we're building, and we want to make sure it's left in good hands. I've mentioned before, I think even on this podcast, of not having people come in with hidden agendas and really disrupt the progress that the city's made and the quality of life that we enjoy in Walker. So we want to make sure we develop this pipeline. People understand too what it means to govern, what policy making means, what collaboration, and even though our roles are nonpartisan, some of us have different ideologies and viewpoints, and that's all great. We have in our households with our families, so it's really important that we understand how it is to get to a common ground that is in the best interest of our community. So one of the things we, for decades, had a group called the Youth Committee. I think it became the Youth Commission at one point. And really in the vision is, looking forward is how do we develop these kids, at the high school level, and I'll say students at the high school level, and how do we get them giving some passion, having some working knowledge of local government. So much of what they get out there might be a mainstream news media nowadays, and we want to make sure they understand it because local government is the most important one, and that really is the foundation as this country was founded, our founding fathers really put that emphasis at the local level of making sure that they, that's just how we roll. So, when we look at the Mayor's Youth Academy, we just started this past fall in 2024. Our first session was actually just talking about how did Walker come to be, and really important because for me, it was important to give those kids a foundation of where we started and where we've come from. And one of the things, many of them were astounded to find out that we started as a township 1837, December 30th, 1837. Our first township hall that we used was the old Baptist Mission Schoolhouse, and it was down on the riverbank of the Grand River, near where Bridgewater Place and Gerald Ford Museum is at today's age. And for the students to comprehend, that's where City Hall, as they call it, used to be, and we took them through that. So everything north and west of the Grand River at the time was Walker Township. So we talked about how that changed over the years, and we talked about the term of annexation, and cities go through that, and quite frankly, there's the working relationship between the city of Grand Rapids and the city of Walker today are just incredible. And one of the things I've taken from Mayor Bliss, in addition to being a tremendous mentor for me over the years that we've served in our respective cities together, was the importance of building that pipeline for the future of at the youth level, and as they get into young adults and into adults, that they learn a lot of the fundamental needs that we have to have as elected officials, and to how set good policy and good governance. So in talking with these students, explaining to them annexation took place when the Village of Kent, which became the city of Grand Rapids, started to annex land over the years and going back into the 1800s. So in showing them a slide, in Alpine, what is now Avastar Park, used to be the old General Motors plant. And I said that was the flashpoint of how we became a city. We were a township up to that point, explaining to them the difference, nuances between townships and cities, and how that works. And understanding that cities can't annex land. They can annex land from townships, but they won't from other cities, can't from other cities, and explaining that to them and showing them that plan, and explaining to them what a tax base and tax revenue means. So walking through all that so they have a better understanding. I already heard from one of the parents of one of the students in the Youth Academy about I learned things I had absolutely no idea on, and I'm third generation in the city. So that was pretty cool to hear that piece of it. But teaching them that first, really that baseline, and that first monthly meeting we had back in the fall last year, and second session that we talked about was governance and policymaking, and understanding what it means to come to the table. And we might have, we maybe even use some of the examples of favorite flavors of ice cream. Yours might be chocolate, mine's vanilla. How do we get that twist cone together? Yeah. But there's an art to that, but you have to be very deliberate about doing that, and you have to want to do that. And that's where I go back to making sure the people that hold elected office are qualified to do so because they're doing it for the right reasons. You're not getting rich doing this, definitely not the local level. You're not getting rich doing this. You're doing this because you love doing this. And so kind of instilling that. And we're having an impact already on you wouldn't think, on young adults as these teenagers. They're getting it. And it's really cool. And, the last session we did before we broke for the holidays was our police department. It's our biggest budget within the city because we've identified public safety as being the most important thing within our community. And next in the curriculum is the fire department night that we'll do. But with the police department, we went through and explained how we staff, how we fund, the importance and the investment we make in our people. It was just really neat to see the kids were able to get through things like virtual reality training. So everybody got a chance to try some new technology that we had purchased at the city, and we're just starting to implement at the time. And I had not seen it yet and had not used it, and a lot of our officers, most of our officers had not yet. So the kids really got it behind the scenes. This is how we use this. So I think they understand that better. And then we showed how that we use our drone system. We use it for proactive situations as well as in that worst case, a reactive situation, and explaining that. What they didn't get to see at the time was our police command vehicle and why we made that investment using some of our American Rescue Plan Act money towards that. So the kids are picking up a really good baseline of what it takes to run that city, and really the ongoing curriculum is continue to educate them how finances work. You can't borrow your way to prosperity. Explaining how we have to make sure that budgets are balanced, and you can't get up to your neck in debt. You can't run credit cards up because it's a bad thing as a municipality. So there's upcoming sessions we'll do. We're going to get into public infrastructure, water and sewer types of discussions. So they're going to get some behind-the-scenes tours of things that people normally don't get to do. And then what we've taken this is because it's been such a success so far. And I'll go back to Mayor Bliss at Grand Rapids. She's done a great job of getting those young adults, that next generation of leaders. So we're going to do that same thing here, starting up in late winter, and applications will be coming out for that soon. And we want to go through an application process and making sure that people are doing this because they're actually interested in serving. They want to learn more, whether or not they ever actually decide to serve. But if that I think is another discussion, but at bare minimum, can we get them to join a committee?
Sure.
And find out what that's like? Not everybody's going to run for elected office. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the time, and not everybody maybe has the stomach sometimes for doing it. I'm just excited about building that pipeline for the future, and building because really you can look at some of our committees that we have right now within the city. And
what are some of those committees for folks?
You have things, planning, and the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals are great foundational resources. When you look at a lot of our city commission, past and present, foundationally, many have served on one or both of those at some point in time. I happen to come up on the historical commission. I'm just that local history nerd. And one of the things that really for us is important is to make sure that you work with other people in a group setting, and you have the ability to understand, you set policy, what good and bad looks like, and what the impact of the decisions you make now, of something that you might pass, might not have an impact for years down the road. And it's understanding that, and we use the term, playing chess, not checkers. We want to make sure they understand as we're playing a game of chess here that we're making strategic moves for years and maybe decades, in the future here. And
I think that's something that people don't really think about, is that, these are going to affect generations
absolutely.
to come.
Absolutely. When you think of some of the projects even that we have going on through the city, and one of the, when we talked about policy and government making, when that session, it's been a few months since we did that, but when we did that session, we showed one of the developments that we're we're actively looking at right now that's hot in the pipeline that'll be coming to fruition here pretty quickly. And we went through the twists and turns that this proposed development's taken place. And to that point, you can use another metaphor there. Once you squeeze that toothpaste out of the tube, you can't get it back in. Yeah. You start breaking ground and building buildings on it. It's not like you knock them down and you put cornfields back where they were. So we have to get it right the first time. So we believe it's very important. But this really is a call out to getting people to join committees. If you're not necessarily comfortable wanting to serve on one of those higher profile committees, there's things like the community engagement. It is a very, very robust. And back when that is one that's been around for a few decades, it's definitely had some evolutions. It started out as really as an international relations committee when we were active with our sister city, Colac, Australia, and is involved to community relations at some point where they started to give awards out annually for things. And really we, coming on as mayor, I'd asked the commission in my first year or so there of this is something I wanted to do to engage the community better. I didn't want to have relations just with the community. We wanted to engage them and get them active and volunteer to work at events or just somehow to get them engaged and more involved. And it's just paid dividends beyond what we had hoped for. So it's a very active group, some really good leadership in there right now with a group of people leading that. But that's something, it's kind of low key, not as high profile as a planning or a zoning board would be, but yet it's just as important because we have to engage with our community. So there's a multitude of ways that you're able to, within the Walker community, to engage in things. And quite frankly, if you're not sure, have a conversation myself, one of your commissioners, sure. One of our city leaders, or whatever it may be, of let's find something for you.
Yeah,
if you want to serve, we'll find a room, we'll find a space for you.
I love that. And so if folks are listening and they're interested, what would be a best way for them to kind of look for this information?
Great question. So walker.city, there's a spot for boards and committees, and there's an application there. And in the drop-down menu, it has the different applications. And one of the things that I don't want to say ever take for granted, but maybe I just for our community emphasize, all of our elected officials in the city of Walker have their cell phone numbers out there, including the mayor. And there's not a whole lot of mayors that do that because mayors can get a lot of weird phone calls at times, and maybe not so good phone calls from people with different motives, what have you, and reach out to one of us. We're very accessible. Have a conversation. We will find a home for you. And if it's something that you're not sure of, we'll have you attend a meeting or two. Sure, be a part of it, and we'll get you to where you need to be.
I love that you guys make it easy. And again, this is just one way for folks to get that information to them if they have been wondering for a while if there is something that they can impact their community. There are ways, and we're glad that there are funnels for that. Right. So thank you so much, Mayor, for all of your work in trying to do that and bring that together. And we hope that, again, maybe something sparked in your mind that you do want to help and step up and work with the city of Walker. We have a place for you. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Made in Walker podcast. If you have comments or questions about this podcast, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop us an email at podcast@walker.city. Made in Walker is the official podcast of the city of Walker, Michigan. You can find Made in Walker wherever you get your podcasts.